So one other thing you may not be familiar with if you're new to Java is the for loop. Okay, so this statement right here where it says starts with for and then you have some parentheses. See there, if you click here you see the other one being highlighted. And there's basically three statements in here. So there's one here separated by semicolons and one here. And this last one, since it's it's the last thing and then there's a closing parentheses after it, there's no semicolon after that one. So there's only going to be two semicolons inside here, but there's three different kind of statements that happen. And the way this works is the first bit here that comes before the first semicolon is like the initialization piece. So that's where we set up, and this is a very typical initialization statement here for the for loop, is to say int I equals 0. We're starting out with I being, we're setting an initial value for I, and then and that's something that happens before anything else, before we start doing any work in here. And then this the second statement here, this is the test, okay? So this is what we're checking to see, to decide if we should keep going over and doing this over and over and over again, okay? So here this says I less than triangle count. So and we saw before triangle count has the value of 50, right? Yeah. So we saw before that triangle count was 50. So we're checking to see if I is less than that. If I is less than that, then we'll call this draw triangle method, which says go down and do these three lines, right? And then we will call calculate next vertices. So then we'll go and do this method, carry out that method there. And then what happens is this last statement here, I plus plus. So we're going to increment I. We're going to add 1 to I. Okay, so I is going to get 1 bigger. So then I becomes 1. So we're done with, we don't really need to look at this one anymore. This only happened when we initialized, right? But so we started with I equals 0, we increment it, now it's 1. Okay, that's kind of happening at the bottom here. You can think of it as happening at the bottom of the loop. And then we come back to the top and we see, is 1 less than 50? Yep, 1's less than 50. Okay, so then I'm going to do this. I go down and oops, I don't go down and carry out all those steps for draw triangle, right? Those three, do those three draw line statements, and then I'm going to calculate the next vertices. Okay, so that's this guy. So I'm going to do that again. Okay, and reassign all those values to the 3 points. And I'm looping. So then the next thing is to increment I again. So I goes from 1 to 2. And I check again, is 2 less than 50? Yes, it is. Okay, so I'm going to do this over and over and over and over again until I gets to 50. Is I less than 50? No, it's not, so I'm not going to do anymore. So basically what happened was I went from I, when I was 0 through 49, for each one of those I did this. I did these two statements here, the draw triangle and the calculate next vertices, right? As soon as I got to 50, I fell through. So I actually execute this loop 50 times because 0 through 49, right? I is 0 through 49. And this is common to go 0. There's a temptation when you're starting out to start with 1, and but most of the time you want to start with 0, and there are reasons for this that I'm not going to go into right now, but just this, it's a good habit to get into. Use 0 and do a strictly less than to the number that you want it to be, and then you'll loop that many times and fall through. Okay, so that's a basic for loop that you're gonna a basic construct that you're gonna see in this a lot in this class probably is the for loop.